Lifted KC, we aim to reduce the stigma associated with mental health by promoting awareness of mental illness, its symptoms, and providing resources for those in need. We believe that through trust, relationships, understanding, service, and teamwork, transformation is possible. Support the Men Heal movement by donating to the Cash App handle LiftedKC.org. For more information about our organization, visit www.liftedkc.org. Lifted KC, transforming lives through hope and healing.
In life, there's ups, there's downs, there's joy, there's pain, and there's cries and there's laughter. I cater to all of that at the Solution Barbershop off 40 Highway. Come on in, have a seat. I'll get you right and get you tight, and then we'll talk about life. For booking, go to wigthemobilebarber.setmore.com or scan the QR code. For more information, follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Wig the Mobile Barber.
As a community, we look at the word trauma as one of those hush-hush words.
From certified life coach, Miss Devin Elise.
It's a stigma around that word. Like nobody wants to be labeled or be classified under that.
Angela Marie Publishing proudly presents.
If you look at it, trauma is merely just being exposed or voluntarily or involuntarily to a situation that changes your outlook.
Sit in your shit. A 30-day guided journal for processing a crisis.
To all my brothers, all my sisters, to any and everyone tuning in and trying to navigate this thing called life. Whether you've been following this healing movement from the jump, or you're brand new to the family and tapping in for the first time, welcome. Welcome. You are absolutely welcome. This is the Blacked Out Couch Podcast. But we like to think of this as more of a safe space for decompressing instead of your typical pod. The purpose of this show is to encourage and promote mental health awareness in our communities. For decades, the mere idea of addressing trauma and healing has always been taboo in the Black culture. We are hoping to change that narrative, one day at a time, one conversation at a time. Now, keep in mind, although we do believe wholeheartedly that the keys to an intentional healing journey include support groups such as these, as well as a variety of other ways to cope, in no way, shape, or form is this show intended to be a replacement or substitute for professional treatment of your mental health needs. We want to encourage, uplift, and provide our audience with tools and resources that have helped some of us maneuver in our day-to-day routines. While some of our panelists do have experience and specialize in the mental health industry, we are all everyday people trying to get by, just like you. So always remember, no matter what you may be going through, you are not alone. It's going to take plenty of courage to see this thing through. But I have faith in us, ladies and gentlemen. Again, welcome everyone. I hope we heal.
Season 2, is that you? Season 2, baby boo, is that you? Let's go. Welcome back to the Blacked Out Couch Podcast. I am your humble and most gracious host for the Brothers panel, Mr. Rodney Lee. Man, and we made it to season 2, y'all. So everybody just pat yourselves on the back. Give yourselves a hand for making it this far with us, man. It truly has been an exceptional, a very amazing journey, man. And I'm just proud of us all for it. I do want to say thank you to everybody that's tuning in tonight. And again, major thanks to those of you that have been following us, following along this healing journey with us as a community from the jump. You know, season 1 was filled with magic, empowering moments, empowering insight. And I'm just super anxious to kick off this season 2 premiere with y'all. You know, it was a long off season for myself, as well as I'm sure it was a pretty long journey in the off season for most of you guys watching tonight. But I am hoping that some of the jewels that we left y'all with at the end of the season have been helpful in continuing along with your individual journeys, wherever you may be in that path. You know, like I always say, healing is a daily process, and you know, every step takes courage. It takes real intent to overcome. So regardless of what you might be dealing with, always remember, no matter what it is, you are not alone. So we want to continue to be a vessel of support, a vessel of hope, a vessel of motivation for our community. Tonight's show, man, as you know, we always kick this thing off with the Brothers panel. So episode 13 for tonight's premiere will be titled "Quit Being a Bitch and Go to Therapy." You know, for those of you that might have tuned in to the first season, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Brother G Don on the Brothers panel and his routine catchphrase advice that he has for the fellas: quit being a bitch and go to therapy. You see me wearing the shirt because that's the type of energy that we on tonight. You know, this catchphrase is as in recent times turned into more of a challenge here amongst the brothers. So we calling it the G-Don Challenge. You know, and all jokes aside, bro, like this challenge is a real message to the man in our community. And we felt that it was appropriate to kick off tonight's premiere with the dialogue. You know, that dialogue that's centered around the stigmas that we have in our community as far as believing in therapy, seeking professional help for our needs as it pertains to our mental health. So, you know, I got a great group of brothers rejoining me on the couch tonight to dive into this, including the prophet, Brother G Don. So let's all just take a deep breath, get ready to take the mask off, get ready to take the gloves off, and jump right into it. You're tuned in to the Blacked Out Couch, season 2. Let's get it. All right, man. So what's going down? Season 2, baby. We back with the Blacked Out Couch. Let me see who I got on the couch tonight, man. Where y'all at, fellas? Where y'all at? What's the deal, baby? What's the deal?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Who I got on the couch tonight, man? Who we got? Man, let's just jump right into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's jump right into it, man. Let's do the temperature check. 1 2 1 2. Who we got on the couch tonight? My man G Don. Welcome back. Welcome back, man. The G Don Challenge.
Peace
and blessings. G Don Challenge, man. You see the shirt? The G Don Challenge, baby. That's what type of energy we on. What's good, baby? How you feeling, man? Let me get a temperature check.
Feeling pretty good, man. Feeling about a 7.58. You know, God is good. Life is progression. You know, peace and blessings be upon me, thanks to the good Lord, and hard work and dedication and staying focused and all that good shit. Yeah, man. But, you know, just like I always say, one of the main reasons why I can say I'm at a 7.58 because I recently had a therapy session. So, you know, whether if you by yourself or with a couple, I recently just started couples counseling. As we embark on, you know, marriage, you know, pre-marriage couples counseling, you know, getting all that straight. So whether if it's just you or you and your wife or mostly just you, quit being a bitch and take your ass to therapy. I promise it's good for you. It ain't gonna hurt. You're not gonna go backwards. You're gonna go forward. I promise you. Even if the therapist suck a little bit, you still gonna go forward because you're gonna be like, yeah, that shit wasn't right, and you're gonna learn what not to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, my man. Welcome back, bro. Welcome back to the couch, man. You know how we do. You know how we do, baby. You know how we do. Who else we got on the couch? GT. Hold on. Is that game tight?
What up, my G? What's the deal? Yeah, man, I'm back
what's
up in
going
this
down?
thing, man. You know, I had to rejoin for another season.
Yes, sir.
Couldn't miss out, man. You know, man. It was a beautiful thing, season one. You know, I expect even bigger and better for season two.
Yes, sir. God willing, baby. Welcome
Yes,
back, man. How
sir.
you feeling? How you feeling tonight, man? Give me a temperature check, baby.
Man, I'm on a 10, bro.
Yeah.
I'm on a 10 right now. Today I can say I'm on a 10, man. Listen, over the weekend, man, it was my youngest birthday, man. She turned 21. But you
Mm.
know, I had my two gorillas with me, my two boys. And I had all
Yeah.
three of my kids out, man. We went down to Society, man. It's a little club off the boulevard down there, man. It was just a nice time, man. I had, we all got drunk and took pics, man. It was a beautiful thing, man. I had some situations last year with my daughter, man. So to
Yeah.
be there, man, I'm elated, man. I'm still riding that high right now, so I'm good right now, fam.
Man, that's good to hear. That's wonderful to hear, man. It's been a minute since I heard you with them type of high spirits, bro. Straight
Yeah,
up, man. Yeah, that's real good, man. Good, man. Welcome back, bro. Let's get it
appreciate
cracking,
you
baby. Let's get it cracking tonight. Who else we got out
already.
here, man? What's going on, brother Bert? What's going on, Mr. Rogers?
I'm doing and I'm doing good. Everything is settling in, and
Yeah.
man, I have the time now to consistently do my whole martial arts thing. Man, I'm doing Muay Thai and judo and jiu-jitsu and all that good stuff while I'm doing therapy in the daytime. So it's been real good to be back there on a regular basis. And then of course, I got my two little girls, and we just locked in on a regular basis, man. We just locked in. We just
Yeah.
downhill slope toward the end of the school year. We got 8 weeks left or so. So we're trying to get. I'm trying to get to the summertime. They keep asking, "Can I come to the pool?" Like, yeah, dude. Let's make.
Yeah, for sure.
We doing good, man. I'm about at probably like a 9 out of 10 right now, for real.
Man, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up, man. Welcome back, bro. You always, man. Welcome, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a long off season for myself. I'm gonna wait till Mr. Wig. I see we got Mr. Wig on. What's going on with you, Wig?
Hey man, listen here, man. I
There
hope
you
we
go.
heal. I hope we heal for season
There you
two.
go.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Season one, there was some healing, you know what I mean? But we still got a little bit more healing, man. So I'm in here, man. I'm in there like swimwear, you know what I mean? Hey,
Man.
y'all see the merch? Y'all see the
Yeah.
merch?
Right
You know
Yeah.
what
on.
I mean?
Right
Yeah,
on, man.
so, but hey, I'm on a 10, man. I got my flight scheduled. You know what I mean? Me and wifey, we headed to Vegas for our reunion for my 5th Battalion 11th Marines reunion. We just got decommissioned this year, so no more 511. But I'm gonna go down to Vegas, man, and yeah, I'm gonna have some woosah, man. Me and my wife, man. Yeah, so I'm on 10, man. Like probably 10 and a half, man.
Oh man, okay. My dog, man. Welcome back, bro.
Yeah,
Welcome
for
back.
sure, for
How
sure.
long y'all gonna be out, man? You said y'all going to Vegas. How long y'all gonna be out?
So in May, yeah, May 11th, and that's the unit 511. So May 11th, we just for that
Yeah,
weekend, that Thursday, we come back on Sunday, man. Woosah on Monday, and we back at it on
that's the
Tuesday,
way to
baby.
do it. That's the way to do it, man. That's beautiful to hear, man. Welcome back, bro. Welcome back to the Blacked Out Couch, man.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes, sir, man. So I guess it's my turn, man. Tonight, man, I'm closer to where my man G Don is at, man. I'm closer to maybe a 7.5. Like I mentioned a little earlier, it's been a long off season, and without me even jumping into all of that, I had a lot of anxiousness, man, and anticipation, man, to get back in these sessions with you brothers, man. So it's been a long journey to get here tonight, man. And I'm just glad that we all here, man. And hopefully, man, this season goes even better than last season did, man. It was truly helpful for me, man, and it was therapeutic in its own way. If I could speak for myself. So, man, I'm just glad y'all back, man, and I'm ready to get it cracking.
Hey, see now that what you're saying is when this session is done, this first one, we gonna get y'all gonna be at a 10.
I
Cause
didn't
that's what
say that, no.
that's the hope. You know what I mean? Cause
Well, yeah, that's the hope. That's always the hope. But you know the way I feel, bro, about it. is that healing is a daily journey, bro. So I think that we all have wounds and scars that we continue to heal from, continue to make sure are not ruptured back open. And so it's a daily management thing, bro. And so I never really can guarantee how I'm gonna feel, man. Shit, tomorrow I might be on 1,000 or I might be negative something. I can't really guarantee how I'm gonna feel, man. I know I'm gonna do my best, and I hope we heal, man. That's why we here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at a 7.5 right now, my dog, and we'll see what happens after tonight. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm headed on the downward slope, though. I will say that, man. I think on the most I'm up and up, man. Because if you'd asked me this a couple of months ago, I definitely would have gave you a different answer. I don't know if that's the case for any of you other brothers on the couch with me tonight, but like I said, bro, it's been a build up to this moment for me personally. So I'm just glad that we back.
Okay.
Is that good enough for you?
Yeah.
My brother.
I mean, yeah, because it's still gonna be a 10 by the time we end this show. I'm optimistic. You know what I mean? Because I'm on the 10.5 right now. So,
Absolutely, baby.
I'm optimistic, you know what I mean? And yeah, during this off season, man, it's been a journey, bro. Don't get it twisted. Like 10.5 ain't just being like peaches and cream like every day, all day. No sirree. Marriage, man, I don't know what it is about marriage, man, but it tests you, brother.
Hey, come on.
I thought it was, because people were like, man, oh man, I've been with my old girl, man, like 15 years. Like, is that your wife though? Like, nah, man, we ain't married and nothing. I was like, it ain't no different, man. I'm like, bruh.
It is different. It's different. That's always gonna be opinion based, bro. But like just speaking from experience, I definitely hear where you coming from. It's a blessing, man. I think overall, if you can find partnership and have the courage and the intent to actually go to that level of commitment, man. I think that it's a beautiful thing, man. And I know G Don had mentioned that he's included couples therapy as part of what he's been doing with his healing journey, man. And that's a whole different ball game, man. But like you said, marriage is a different ball game. But I also think that any relationship that is not treated with that type of care, because shit, man, when I think back on it, I could have probably used couples therapy in every relationship that I was a part of going back to middle school. I don't know if any other you brothers feel like that.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to couples therapy or therapy in general, but just not having therapy as part of some of my experiences, I can tell you, man, like that's a different ball game for me. I
agree. The vulnerability, as an attendee of both individual and couples therapy, man, like how you try to heal individually is different than how you heal in relationships, because you always have to account for that person. And oddly enough, I mean, like sidebar, because people have heard about it last season, but like it actually allowed me to land my ship a bit easier when me and my wife were decided to split. Like we actually were able to split amicably because of it. Because we had couples counseling to be able to sit down and figure out, okay, how do we want to do this in a very amicable way? And almost a year later, we still on the same page. We effectively parent our kids, man, and like we literally high five each other. We're like, oh, you on a date? Oh, that's cool as hell. Hope it goes well for you. It's wild, man.
And you said not even a year later, just almost a year later.
Yeah, like all right there, man. So it's. I strongly recommend folks like get to know how you show up in couples, man. Get to know how you show up individually for yourself. I mean, but like G-Don be saying, man, stop being a bitch and go to therapy. It will expose that in you real fast. Like, oh yeah. You like this? Ah, shit. Congratulations. You're gonna learn today. Like,
I hear that, man.
It's wild.
I hear that, man. Let's get into it, man, because that's that's the topic of tonight's discussion is the whole concept of black men and our community in general and its relationship with therapy and the mental health industry. So I say let's get right into it, man. I got as always, I have a list of questions sitting next to me here. We use this sort of as a guideline, though. So wherever we go, let's just go. The way that I wanted to start this, though, man, was with just a bit of knowledge. So I was reading, and you can see this anywhere, man. If you just breathe mental health with black man on Google, you're gonna see this statistic. It says research shows that black men who experience feelings of anxiety or depression are about half as likely to seek counseling as their white peers. So that's a really harsh reality in terms of the stigma around therapy in our community, just historically. And I know that we made some strides recently, man, but like, let's just talk about it, man. Like, what would y'all say? The first question I have here is I say, what are some common barriers that y'all think prevent black men from seeking therapy, and how can we address them effectively? If you have any ideas towards that, anybody can take the mic.
I would say number one is shame. I would say that's number one is shame. It's because as men in general, you don't ask for help. Barely want to ask your homeboy for $20 if you got to. And so to be in a sense to where you need help just with yourself existing, that's a level of growth and maturity that not a lot of people are willing to just look in the mirror and say to themselves. Like, it's one thing to, for alcoholic to say, oh, I need to go to AA. That's, or I need to stop drinking. Just the first step. I need to stop drinking. It's hard for alcoholics to even say that. So for somebody who's, dealing with anxiety, depression, to look in the mirror and say, I need help just being me, that's a level of, honesty and maturity that everybody either don't have or not ready to face. Just like with an alcoholic or a drug addict, it's like, oh, well, I'll do it eventually, or, life been going cool without it, or I'll figure it out one day, or I'm figuring it out, I'm making strides or whatever. When really the solution to your issue is, an arm's reach away, whether it be putting a bottle down, putting whatever vice down, or just, your phone and looking up a therapist and seeing how much one is, or seeing where you can find one.
It's a couple of things. I agree with G-Don here a little bit. But to add on to what G-Don is saying, it's a pride thing with men, and not necessarily on our own fault. We were taught this pride thing from our fathers, our uncles, our grandfathers. Those are very prideful men. And I know you all understand what I'm saying, because we were all raised with this pride shit. Okay, so pride is one of the biggest devils that you're going to ever find when it comes to people seeking help with therapy. The other one is motherfuckers really truly believe either they okay and they ain't going through it that bad, or if they feel like they are, like they say in anxiety and depression, they feel like they can fix it on their own and they don't need to go through a therapy. So it's a I agree with G-Don, but you got to add that pride in there, because we was raised by some real prideful men.
I agree. I think that, like a lot of things, I think a lot of us don't know how harmed we actually are, how traumatized we actually are. I think that's one of the barriers. I mean, like, I think it was my therapist supervisor told me when I was like a baby therapist. She was like, one of the biggest lies that we tell each other every single day is, I'm fine. It's like the easiest lie you can tell. How you doing? I'm cool, good, fine, hanging in there, whatever variation you want in that situation. And some guys legitimately do not know, oh, I'm not supposed to wake up just pissed off for no reason. That's not regular. Nah. like, that's not regular for me to like just feel like I'm on the edge of crashing out on somebody on a regular basis. Nah, bro. What? No, you ain't supposed to feel like that. Like, we're supposed to have a semblance of peace inside of our own head and our own psyche, and we don't get an opportunity to get that because we actually experience so much on a regular basis, especially for those of us who grew up in any hood across America. We end up experiencing this kind of like this sense of like, oh well, yeah, that's a regular Tuesday. Yeah, buddy, that shots rang out, this happened, we don't go to this place, we don't talk to these folks. Oh, buddy got OPSA, we done seen somebody lost their life or something like that, and we think like, oh well, yeah, that's the hood, that's just a regular day. So
yeah, I just want to add in, because you are 100% right. It's like a culture shock.
Yeah.
Like it's like a culture shock when you like grow up in the hood and then you go to college or anywhere, move outside your neighborhood, and like, hold up, you didn't hear gunshots every night? Like, hold up, the first person who that died of an illness and not of murder.
Yeah.
Like,
Tell.
And same thing. Like, it was like, hold up, niggas is happy.
Yes, bro.
Niggas ain't pretending.
Like,
oh shit, what on?
Niggas is actually happy out here. Like, you mean you ain't on a regular basis? And like realizing that, honestly, I didn't go to therapy. I didn't go to therapy till I hit graduate school, I believe. Like right before I hit graduate school is when I went.
So you were still in your 20s though.
Yeah, I was still in my 20s. Like, but
okay.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I was resistant at first, man. Like,
and this is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again, but I'm just making sure that I follow this. You saying that you didn't seek your own personal therapist because you were in school.
I was in school to be a therapist, and some personal shit happened, and I was like, I think I got it. And my partner at the time was like, I don't think you got it, bro. Like, you should go talk to somebody. And it was my father actually. My father actually pulled me aside and was like, son, go ahead and go. What's the worst that can happen? Go ahead and go. Go to therapy. If you don't like it, that's fine. And I have literally been in front of a therapist ever since. Like, I still, as a therapist, I go once a month to deal with like any of my personal stuff, or like when I was married, we did couples counseling to make sure we can land that ship safely and soundly. Like, we did all that kind of stuff because I was like, yo, I fully agree with anybody. So it's like, yo, it's hard work. It involves you facing yourself. But I mean, there's some stuff that I've experienced. I'm like, yeah, I needed to actually process that through with somebody else that wasn't one of my family members, that wasn't one of my friends. Like, but I know I didn't want to go because I was like, man, I know I can tell myself what diagnosis I have. I know what I have, and I know how to wrestle. But at the same time, I was like, but you still need somebody to actually help you unpack it. You can't unpack that suitcase by yourself. You need people.
Yeah. I'm not gonna chime in too much with my stance on how I feel about it just yet, but it will be real interesting to me. Now me being on the other side of the fence, I think most of us here on the other side of that fence that we talk about, we grow up with this fence sort of around the idea of just the mental health industry in general, right? We all think that we got it, but the point that I was gonna make, man, and this is, I kind of chuckle when I think about it, is, man, I don't know how I would feel about having a therapist that had not gone to therapy. Now that I'm on the other side of the fence, right? So that's just wild that but it's interesting, bro, because it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if that would have affected your timing.
Oh,
like having a fat personal trainer.
Yeah, for real.
Well, yeah. I said, I wonder if your time and when you chose to go would have been affected if you weren't going into that field.
I think
from an educational and professional standpoint,
bro. I think if your therapist, I tell people all the time when I work with them, like, bro, interview your therapist. Ask them not only what their therapeutic orientation is and what school they went to. Have you been to therapy? Because I think there is something very vulnerable about the idea of inviting you to your emotional home and saying, hey, this is what I've been through. This is how I'm living. This is my thought process. Because I genuinely believe you cannot effectively do this work as a therapist until you have sat down and sat in front of a therapist of your own. And I don't mean like one-off, like 3 sessions. I mean like regularly. Because like, even though I have all the boundaries and set up my time frame in terms of how many people I see and all that kind of stuff, I still need to make sure I'm regularly unpacking the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. Like I can't hold stuff in isolation, so I got to talk to people.
I got a question.
Go for
I
it.
got a question.
What's up?
How, I guess you could say, if there's any type of numbers, or I guess you could say polls, or of how many black males actually go to therapy versus, per capita, or is there any type of study about that?
That's a real good question. I know they have like
Based.
yeah, they have like percentages and things like that. Like there's like Holly was saying earlier about like
Yeah. I mean, that's really a big enough statistic if we think about it, man. Like in comparison to our white peers, we could probably, if we had a mathematician here, we could probably see what the
Right.
number actually is if we looked at it. The number of white men versus black men, we're half as likely to seek counseling as they are. Right. That's a really, hard hitting reality when I look at it.
and plus the overrepresentation of white therapists and the underrepresentation of us being therapists has a big role into it too.
Yeah, and I want to get into that a little later, but
Yeah.
I want to circle back, man. And I'm piggybacking really off more where GT was coming from, man, because the question was, and like I said, man, like for me, I'm on the other side of the fence now, bro, but I wasn't always on the other side of the fence, bro. And I was in my mid to late 20s before I even considered the idea of therapy. And when I walked in the door, I wasn't walking in the door for what I walked out of that motherfucker with, right? I wasn't walking in the door for that. I was going with a completely different intent. So but I wasn't always on that side of the fence, bro. I think my upbringing, and like most of our upbringings, I think represent a large portion of our community, bro, where there really was just this fence that existed as it pertained to the whole concept of the mental health industry and therapy, any level of therapy, right? I think that there was always just this fence that existed, bro. We grew up believing that, and for a lot of us, we still that's the fence that we got to learn how to either jump over or even question, is it worth jumping over for all of us, right? So I want to circle back to where GT was saying, bro, like we really didn't grow up with the notion, right? And like, so for me personally, bro, I was well into adulthood and had dealt with life without any sort of treatment for years. Went through puberty, went through multiple relationships in my college years, my young adult years, untreated, right? I felt like I wasn't as far gone as to need some sort of professional help. I had a couples therapy session one time in college, and I was super for it, man, because it was with my college sweetheart, and I won't get into the whole story, man, but I felt like that couples therapy would work for us because I really wanted the relationship to work that bad. Contrary to what my reputation ended up becoming after this relationship, but that's a whole nother thing. Like I said, I was untreated. Anyway, I really wanted this relationship to work that bad, and I had convinced her for us to go to couples therapy. Well, when we got to couples therapy, the therapist told me that we needed to have individual therapy, and what she really was saying was the young lady that I was with, she had some serious a serious need for individual therapy right away, and she didn't need to be in couples therapy. The therapist then suggested, of course, like they should have, that I also talk to somebody, but they were really concerned about the young lady that I was with at the time and some of the things that she had shared in couples therapy. So I continued to move through life without even thinking about going to that level because I didn't feel like that I was mentally sick in any sort of way, right? And so I think our mentality, the point that I wanted to make, man, just from a personal standpoint, is our mentality was not that we didn't feel like we were touchable. Like none of us, I don't think, felt untouchable. We did know that we were processing some different thoughts and emotions, but we found as men, as black men in our community, we found different ways, different vices to cope, to where we didn't feel like we needed to go to see somebody professionally. Am I right or wrong? For me personally, that's what it was when I look back on it.
I kind of agree, but I think I like to try to, and this is just my own personal idea and story of my life. I think it was more so, I was a narcissist, bro. I didn't have any humility, man. I think, like a lot of times we think that, maybe we didn't know or we didn't understand, but a lot of times it was because we were in our own way. It wasn't, it could be, shame, it could be the pride and everything like that. Those two definitely are part of, some of the reasons. But if we go a little bit more deeper, I think it was more, when you go into the pride side of it, or the narcissism, the not having any humility, having any type of being defensive, just to so to speak, on constructive criticism. So it's like, man, when you look back at those days, it was a a eat dog world. It was a pride thing, but it's more so of the lack of humility that to where no one can tell you that that you needed help, and you're like, I don't need all that. Woo, 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 woo. So me, especially growing up, man, in the military, they made me go to anger management. Okay, I thought I didn't have an anger problem. That's the world. They bother me, you know. But it's really about the reaction. I thought I was the shit. I was like, I was no, 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 no. You fucking with me. I'm on your ass, and they like, no, sir. Out in the real world, you have to, suppress your anger. You have to be the one to not actually swing on somebody and hold back. So it could be that part too, man. But a lot of times it's really us truly holding ourselves back, man.
It is us holding ourselves back. I agree with that. But I'm gonna give you a perfect example. It wasn't really like, for me, it wasn't a lack of humility. Bro, I done always had a job, always had benefits. Nigga, I ain't no motherfucking therapy come with my motherfucking benefits. It was a lack of knowledge, and that's on my behalf. I am not making that excuse. I should have went and, dug a little deeper. But man, a lot of us that come from the ghetto, bro, we go to these jobs, work 40 hours a week, and never even use the benefits that come with it. Part of it because we don't even know what to do with them benefits, bro. So it ain't really a lack of humility, it's just a lack of knowledge, because where we at, bro, the product of our own environment that we grew up in. Like, for me, it wasn't that at all. Because I'm gonna let you know right now, within the last 10 years, I've been offered anger management through my job. I sincerely turned them down. But if anybody know me personally, I do have an anger problem. And I know that I'll be the first to tell you that. But it ain't as nowhere near as bad as it used to be. Like, I've calmed down a whole lot. And that's because I believe I can work on myself. But I do need to quit being a bitch and go to therapy, like, on God.
I think, man, the point I really wanted to land on here, man, before we kind of move on, was that like G-Don said, it could be shame. I've heard, lack of humility, lack of knowledge, lack of knowing. For me, I want to hold on to the lack of knowing, bro, because now that I am on the other side of the fence, I understand that there, as with anything, you would think you understand this already, but as with anything, bro, like, there are levels. There are levels to your mental health. There are levels to your physical health. You may not be at the point where you are paralyzed, but hey, you might have bad knees, right? And you should get that checked out before it gets any worse, right? You have to learn the know for me, the knowledge piece for me. The awakening for me was learning that there are levels to how you should treat your life in general, right? And so that rings true for mental health, and I think that that's the thing that was the big awakening for me, and I think that that could be helpful for others that may not have understood, even how to look at it in that sort of level. You may not be at the point where you're ready to be committed, though. That's the way that I think our community looked at the whole concept of getting professional help, was like, I'm not cuckoo or crazy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we grew up thinking the professionals were for people that were going into a straitjacket. Okay. I think that was more so the feel of, and I think that that's what keeps a lot of us from mental health as Black men, specifically, is the fact that we don't look at it through the right lens. The proper way to look at it is that we all just being human. And like I always talk about, the whole concept of healing being a daily journey, us being human. Every single day, your body has to rest, recharge, and heal. And that's in all facets, including your mental. We put a lot of stress and energy through our bodies and our brains daily, no matter who you are, just living. You should have some sort of care for your mental health, because where all of our bodies have the ability. We all been dying since the day we was born. I hate to sound cynical, but since the day we was born, we all been dying. None of us are gonna live forever. And more than not, our bodies are decelerating. They're not moving in the other direction. So we have to take care with those things, and everything is centered around the brain. These are just things that I've learned being on the other side of the fence. But for most of us as Black men in our community, that there is a fence that exists. I think that I wanted to. That's where I want to kind of land and get y'all comments on that. And so we find other ways to cope, bro. And I don't know if everybody here has even gotten on that other side of the fence to take that step towards the therapy piece of it. But for those of us that have, I like to make sure that we keep that in mind, man, that we was once on that other side of the fence. And I think that we all probably were taught to look at that fence in that certain manner, that it meant something way more extreme or dramatic than what it truly does mean.
I agree. I think that's the severity. We so used to surviving with, from a physical standpoint, we so used to surviving, like your analogy of like, yo, we were hobbling on these bad knees and broken legs and rolled ankle and lower body injuries. We think, oh, bro, I'm good. I can push it. Let me just take my ankle up and I put my knee braces on and make it through. Like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. But what if you didn't have to? What if you didn't have to? What if you didn't have to make it through with that kind of stuff?
Yep. Nah,
I think just being that, like, it's a scary thing to be vulnerable. It's scary. If you were taught for you since you were a little guy to not be vulnerable, and then you finally have a space where somebody's like, oh yeah, you on the hot seat now, and we're gonna talk about this. And we haven't had, the world has not held us gently, and sometimes our own families haven't even held us gently. So when you find yourself in a space of like, oh, I can be vulnerable in here. I can tell those quiet thoughts that we have when the house is all locked up and everybody's asleep, and we sit on our couch or in our study thinking like, damn, I done been through some shit. That's the place for that. Therapy is the place for them thoughts that we have.
I got a question there. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man, just to qualify my question. I've been going through therapy for a long time because I grew up in the foster care system. So I've had therapy as a child, then therapy as far as teenager, adolescent, so to speak, when I went to the military, and I've been to therapy, since then. But like, therapy does help the individual, I would say so. But how does therapy actually help the world?
If I could chime in my opinion on that, the old saying of a butterfly flaps its wings causes a tsunami. Like, you being a better person and a better human, or being less angry, as you said, now you in turn can be a better husband to your wife, y'all can raise more balanced children. Those children go out to the world and don't do as much damage as they would have. You know, same thing, even as small as, the fact that you're not angry. If you got a pet, you got you a dog, and the dog is feeding off your energy. If you angry and your dog angry, now your dog and bit somebody and bit some kid and traumatized some kid. There's a million things and a million, ways, like the infinite web, that things could be better or worse. And the fact that you are doing the work to be a better person, you are then infecting your circle, your sphere, in a better manner. Because you have worked on your anger, you didn't say that crazy thought to somebody who cut you off in traffic, and that person who cut you off in traffic, ain't no telling what the hell they was going through, and you cussing them out might have been their last straw. So it goes on and on. So for me, that's how I feel like it helps the world.
That was a good scenario. That was a good answer to that. And the reason why I say that is, because to me, I think when it comes to mental health, religion takes a big part in my life with mental health, with the Bible and things like that. And the Bible says, he doesn't come to call the healthy. That's not who needs a doctor. It's the sick that needs the doctor. So I'm thinking, as we, as individuals, and we are learning how to deal with our mental health and our mental issues and things like that. How do we, resonate that out into the world, like with the other, the other young black men, or not even young black men, but our older black men. That was a good way to say that. But more so, how this podcast is one of those ways that we can use to really help the world. Or it's like this is a fishing line to me, to get black men and young black boys to really take control of their mental health, and to go ahead and stop being a bitch and go to therapy and things like that. So I really, this podcast really, does it gives that light, it gives that stage and that audience, that we can get somebody in and say, hey man, hey, these gentlemen, they are a better class of black men because of mental health.
Was anybody else finna say anything? I didn't want to cut nobody off. I might get on the soapbox.
I can jump in briefly on that.
Go ahead, Brother Rogers.
I will give a personal example of that situation, man. Like, before therapy, I wouldn't have told y'all shit about anything I had going on in my life at all. You would just pop up and be like, oh, damn, I didn't know B was going through that shit. Well, now talk about it. And I didn't realize my impact to my little small circle of friends I went to high school with and college until like probably a few months ago. I was talking to my friends from high school, and she said, do you realize how many people like hear you talk so much about going to therapy and talking about grief and mental health struggles? How many people have probably gone to therapy behind you? I was like, no, I've never kept a head count. I just send out the referrals, and I just talk about it because I didn't have anybody modeling that for me. So I was like, I don't mind talking about it. So the vulnerability I have now in the year of our Lord 2024 that I didn't have back when I started back in 2011 is worlds different. I tell folks things about like what I'm carrying, and even if a person can't help me with it. And I think that made me a better father. It makes me a better partner. And it also can just make me a better friend in general. And I think just even having that model to where like somebody can see someone, it's like, oh, this is okay to talk about this. I don't have to be ashamed about this, because shame dies when you're getting held in community. That's what shame dies. So I think that's the big rub of how I can help folks in that situation. For me personally.
Yes, sir. So where I wanted to chime in, I'm answering your question, Brother Wig. The question where it's like, what is, how does that help the rest of the world, the rest of the community? Man, for me, bro, like when when I actually sat down and was at that level of healing with my mental health, bro. Sitting down and talking to somebody. What I discovered was a very extreme thought. Okay, and I live and die by this thought ever since. I believe it made me a better person, and I believe it will make everybody a better person if they just sought a little bit of help with their brain. For me, I feel like we all are a little sick. We've all been through too much trauma, man. Just the way that we even come into the world, in childbirth is so much trauma associated with that. Our brains have been through an awful lot from infancy through childhood through your teenage years. You've gone through and experienced a lot at a very, very rapid rate coming into this world. And I think that we all, as individuals, can use that level of caring for our bodies as well. Because there are certain things that we experience, certain thoughts that we had, certain feelings that we didn't know how to process. That when I sat down and talked to somebody, I'm gonna talk about this later, but long story short, when I sat down to talk to somebody, they were telling me the levels of stress, some of the things that I was going through with anxiety. I was having panic attacks, didn't know what they were. They started basically giving me all of this knowledge about some of the things that I had been going through just as a human being for as long as I could remember. And I just thought that it was just life. We were born or brought up with the whole notion of having slaves blood. If it ain't broke or you ain't bleeding, you don't go see no doctor. I dealt with levels of depression and anxiety. I just didn't know how to identify until I sat down and talked to somebody, and they told me, listen, you way more stressed and have certain diagnoses that you don't even realize. But for me, it was an awakening, because I just felt like, well, shit, because that's what I did when I downplayed it. When I first started going to therapy with my circle, when I came out of those sessions, I downplayed it. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, it was like, man, this don't even really feel like therapy. It was still so new for me, but it was like, man, like the things that we addressing is like normal shit. I still looked at it through a lens where I got to be extreme to need to sit down and talk to somebody. But the things that we are addressing were what I deemed in my head normal things that happen to us, normal things that we go through growing up. But it was a reality check for me, because I was wrong about that. Like, I was a lot more in danger of really flying over the roof, man. A lot of untreated trauma that I had experienced. And when I looked up some of the trauma that I had experienced that added on to me just being human in this world, some of that trauma, bro, I shared that trauma with others around me. Everywhere I looked in my community, there were certain levels of trauma that we grew up, growing up in the communities that we dealt with, bro, that we just didn't even understand was truly trauma. Is the point that I'm making, bro. So for me, man, like I said, bro, like the thought that I had was like, man, we all a little sick. Then if this is the case, and that's what sent me on my journey, bro, for me to dive deeper into it, bro, because it did in the very beginning. It felt like the things that we were addressing were just normal things.
That makes perfect sense, because we have been, I guess you could say, just we used to it now. You know what I mean? Especially growing up in the late '80s. You know what I mean? Early '90s. Gangster rap. Started really getting popular. You know what I mean? The crews, the gangs, and things like that. So it's like it was all normal for us. But now we are in a time now, man, where our kids are in much, much more danger than what we was. So that's what it really boils down to, man. I don't think we can really reach the grown folks because they got their mind made up. They don't think that they need
I don't know
therapy.
if I agree. I don't know if I agree with that, man. Like I
You
think
don't think so? Hey, man, I hear you, but
no, I
bro,
don't. I don't. I don't. I'll tell you why. I tell you why I don't think
go
so, and
ahead.
you can disagree or agree with me, bro. But the thing that I go back to is, bro, everybody's journey and timing and why is different, right? I have this saying that I always say, bro, that I use in my household. I've always used amongst my brethren, bro. I don't know if they paid attention to it, bro, but I'll say every once in a while, bro, to remember why you started. And everybody starts for different reasons, and everybody starts at different times in their life, bro, and everybody's journey ain't the same, man. So like I don't know if it's fair to say that you know, we've lost the adults in terms of the motivation to dive deeper into their mental health journey, because I think adults are doing that every single day, bro. And look how old we were before we decided to step into that.
True.
Nah, I would say it kind of goes back to what GT was saying, where he chimed in and he was like, we were talking about the lack of knowledge, along with, you know, lack of what the resource is and things like that. I think one of the things that we lack is the knowledge of the nuance. Um, like you was saying, like, oh, therapist is for the crazy people. Well, voila, there's a whole spectrum in between straitjacket and regular person. And
Yeah.
you might be on, you know, if straitjacket is 10, you might be a 4, you know,
Mhm.
and so you might need a little bit of therapy, or you might be a 7, you might need a pill, you know,
Mhm.
and it don't mean there's nothing wrong with you, you know, but you are in that nuance. So it's not just, oh, you're crazy or you're not. It's not just, oh, you okay or you're not. There is a spectrum. There is, and the for people to be able to conceptualize that is what needs to be, you know, opened up to people more. You know, there's a I bring this up all the time. You know, you hear about, oh, you're making my nerves. You know, your grandma or something be like, oh, you're making my nerves bad. I didn't take my nerve pill. Your grandma had anxiety, nigga. Like that was an anxiety pill. She was taking alpralazam, homie. Like,
Yeah.
but the whole but and so once you realize that and you be like, oh, well, grandma was cool, and you think about all the good memories and thoughts that you have about grandma. Now the idea of being on that parallelism ain't such a big deal because your grandma was on it. And
Right.
so that's why a conversation like this is so important, because when they see other black men who, you know, that we can, you know, identify with and articulate and understand each other, or, you know, I could be a version of somebody. If I don't remind you of yourself, I might remind you of your nephew. I might remind you of your brother. I might remind you of your cousin. And so when you think about all the good versions and good thoughts that you have associated with them, and then you add on that they might be going to therapy, the idea of therapy and the shame and the lack of knowledge all becomes a little bit less scary, because it's not some unknown boogeyman in the night. Like, oh, crazy people go to therapy. It stops becoming that.
Hey, let me chime in. I got one for you, G Dine. Crazy? Who crazy? Shit. You crazy. If you think I'm crazy, you crazy. I ain't never I ain't crazy. Yeah, who that sound like? Who crazy? You crazy if you think I'm crazy. Yeah, okay.
Straight up. Straight up. No, like we gonna
Yeah,
we gonna we
I
gonna
got a
get
little
into
bit more
this, man.
faith.
Like
Yeah, I got a little bit more. I don't got the. Y'all
I,
got a lot of more faith than I do.
well, I just say this, man. Like, I'm gonna lead to this because I know we gotta go to break here, to commercial break, bro, and we're gonna get back into this wig, bro. But I think where I'm landing at, bro, is um none of us were introduced to it as children, and
Right.
and and we found our way to it as adults. So it's difficult for me to say that can't see an adult finding their way to it, because I continue to meet adults who continue to find their way to that level of in their journey as full blown adults. I'm just going off of what I continue to see,
Mm.
especially in our community, bro. I think like the point that was made is, conversations and things like this are important. Sometimes they can inspire or spark the right people. In my opinion, I don't know, Wig, where you were going with it was, that you wanted to focus more on the youth, and I know we're gonna get into that. But what I was saying was, I don't know if things like this, if these sort of mature conversations are even appealing to a certain level of the youth, right? So I think that there are different levels of things that may influence or help people to kind of want to see what's on the other side of that fence. And I think that everybody has their own journey, bro. So I don't want to give up on anybody, bro, because we mentioned it earlier, bro, but like even outside of therapy, you still have to have different ways, because the therapy session is the therapy session, and you have the work that you have to put in, but that's what the work is. That means like the work is outside of the couch. Now I got to go and apply some of this in the real world. That's what the work is, right? And that's a daily thing. So you still have to actually be bought into the whole concept of it, and I think that it starts with and ends with the way that us on the other side of that fence, bro, how we can continue to have conversations like these, or just in general with people in our community, man, and just share our experiences with it.
Right. Because a lot of us is stuck in denial.
Well, hey, I hear you. But I know we got a commercial coming up, man. But hey, I got some thought on it for sure.
Yeah, for real. Hey, hold that thought. We do got to go ahead to commercial break, bro. So let's go ahead and pause right quick, man. Get a word from our sponsors, bro, and everybody hold on to their thoughts, man, so we can jump right back into it.
What's good? This is Jazz from 64111 Studio. Make sure you holler at me for all your mixing, mastering, and recording needs. For booking, please visit www.64111studio.com.
We see on TV every day, and that's black men in therapy. Black men in therapy. Black men in therapy.
I gotta say it every time. To all my fellas out there, just go to everybody, but specifically the fellas.
The G-Don Challenge.
If you in your feelings, quit being a bitch and go to therapy.
It's not so much a fear of threatened masculinity. I just never wanted to really talk about it.
The first step in breaking that stigma is to talk about it.
I think black men are now standing up a little more when it comes to mental health and personal care.
I've noticed that this conversation around therapy and black men is becoming normalized, but maybe not normalized to the extent which it needs to be.
It ain't always about whatever you think it is. Sometimes it's just to be about the man in the mirror who need to go do some healing.
Quit being a bitch and go to therapy. You see me wearing a shirt, because that's the type of energy that we on tonight.
The G-Don Challenge.
Quit being a bitch and go to therapy.
New merch from the Healing Collection. Visit our store now at AngelaMariePublishing.com or scan the QR code on your screen to order today.
Quit being a bitch and go to therapy.
There's been so much stigma related to talking about these issues. And so, the time is really perfect for us to be having these conversations.
What up, podcast world? This your dude, Walt Lee Dundilla, the Popper, Mr. Activelli. Pull up on me, 1809 Vine, 8600 Ward Parkway, or yes, I'm KC.com.
KC is my home. Most scratched in the rest, where your bag at? Posted in the store, moving t-shirts and dad hats. Buy 3, get 1 free, you can have that. Niggas get panicked, quintiles being lab rats.
All right, we back, man. Shout out to the sponsors, man. Shout out. All right, man. Listen, man. I don't even want to spend too much time, man. Like, let's get right back into it, man. Kind of where we left off at, man. The next question that I have here, man, is really just about personal testimonials. I asked, what are your experiences or takeaways from going to therapy? what influenced you to take that leap, or what turned you off from the idea if you never have taken that leap? So I want everybody, if you know, if you're comfortable, whoever's comfortable, to go ahead and answer that before I tackle that group or list of questions, man. But let's talk some personal testimonials, man.
I can jump in
Let's
on
talk
mine.
about. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can jump in on mine first. Even as a grad student, man, I honestly, when I was a grad student and jumped into therapy the first time, I honestly was defensive. I was like, how is this at this time, how's this white woman going to help me with my mental health if she ain't live where I live? At the time, personally, I was coming off of, I think at that point, going into therapy for the first round, I think I was at homicide number 3 or 4 or so. I just lost a cousin to homicide like no more than 3 months beforehand. And by that point, I was like, what you gonna do to help me? Like, what do you have to say to me? And I think more than anything, it was just somebody at first it was somebody holding space. And then my second round in therapy was actually going to a trauma specialist, which is where I am now in my personal career. So having somebody who was like, oh, we're going to process these particular traumas along the way. And it worked wonders. It really helped me, man. Like having someone there who can like not just talk about it, but actually use particular tools and techniques to help me reduce the amount of, triggering in my system, being activated, being shut down, and being having flashbacks and nightmares and all that kind of stuff, actually helping with that kind of stuff. That's what changed it for me, man. Like, I think people have this idea that therapy is just somebody just you talk to and they listen to you. You should be walking away with some skills. You should be walking away with like, oh, I'm coming in different. I'm showing up differently than I was beforehand. Whether you're looking for help with your anxiety or your depression, or whether you're looking for help with your relationship, there should be some change happening somewhere along the way. At least I would say, at least there 3 months, you do a systems check. Like, how am I actually doing? So I think that is what helped me, man. Like having some actual targeted help toward, because I think you have just like any other medical specialty, man. You have your general practitioners, people who are generally therapists, but you have people who specialize in certain things, eating disorders, trauma, people who specialize in all these different kind of diagnoses, narcissism, personality disorders, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think a lot of folks know that. They just think you're just talking to somebody. So I think that's what really like kept me going to the point now where I'm like the bulk of my work has been done in terms of like dealing with my own past traumas. Now it's just a system check now once a month. Matter of fact, I got one tomorrow. Shoot, I got one tomorrow morning. So like just a general monthly systems check. Like, hey, this is where I am. This is what I got on my plate. And this is what stuff is popping up for me right now as things are even going well. So you don't have to have any things go wrong to even continue on in therapy. You can be doing pretty much okay and still need some support.
My bad. I know I was muted. Anybody else want to chime in on that? GT, weird.
I mean, me personally, I don't think that. I mean, therapy did help, but not because I went to therapy more so than it's more. How can I say this, bro? Like people, a lot of times, if you are somebody that actually look at yourself, that really understand who you are and what's going on, like someone who takes accountability, it really what you need is just what therapy is for is more so just like are we on the same page as far as morals and moral compass and things like that, or logistical, so to speak? Is it logically, because it's not really, it's not an emotional thing, because your therapy is not about I should know something, or I mean I should feel something. It's more so knowing something. So me, when I went, I already understood what was going on in my life, what I needed, what it was more so like am I on the right track when I talk to my therapist? Are they understanding what my speech is? Do you know what's going on in my life? This is what I've told you. This is how I've dealt with it. And this is the best way that's been done for me. You know, and with that, it kind of helps me to deal with further, you know, decisions that I have to come across based off of being able to have those discussions with a therapist. So because they're not biased, there's no feelings about it. It's all about, you know, really just logistically speaking, how to deal with your life, how to be accountable with the things when you are wrong, and then on top of that, just knowing what you got to do next when you are you know, facing those issues again. So it helps, but it was more so not really using the therapist to help me, but using the therapist to, you know, kind of keep me tweaked, if that makes sense. That's how it felt for me. It wasn't more so like I needed it. I just used it.
Okay.
I think it depends.
GT, did you? Oh, go ahead, Bert.
I was just gonna say, I just think it depends on what you need when you go in there. Like the function of therapy when I started is different than it is now. Like, you know, now it is kind of like as GT says, like a systems check. No, it's a sophisticated systems check at this point in my life, where I'm like, I know the board now. I know what my traumas are, how things can bump into each other. I know kind of where my brain and body and emotional system can be at, depending on a bunch of different factors. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, I need some help weaving through a few things. And then some stuff is just unfamiliar ground, because sometimes growing up in a hood environment, you haven't experienced safety. Like, oh,
you said something though. You said a board. You getting better. It's like a chess game. You know, you get better. You know what I mean? You don't do those same mistakes again. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, now, do you sometimes, you know, catch yourself slipping sometimes?
Oh yeah, I'm human. I'm human, man. So yeah,
you know?
there's some time frames where I'm like, man, I'm handling this the way an unhealed version of me would handle this. There's a better way to go about this. Like, and my biggest relational piece is like, I will find myself doing what I used to do when I was a kid, which is like clam up and don't say shit. I become a mob boss. I'm not saying shit to you. I'm keeping everything to myself. Everything game, like everything's locked down. I'm not saying shit. How you doing? I'm cool. And I'll lock in, play video games all day or go work out. I will handle things all to myself. And I've actually structured my life in a way where I can't get away with that anymore. This place is actually one of them. Like this environment, like why I try to show up to all the recordings and all the meetings is because like I can't not be vulnerable in here. The same way I go to jiu-jitsu. I go to jiu-jitsu over boxing sometimes because I can't not talk to those guys in there because we in close quarters wrestling and such. We got to talk. So it forces me to do what is the opposite on the end of my chessboard, which is what I'm familiar with. And sometimes what I'm familiar with is actually unhealthy. If I'm used to like, I'm used to like holding grudges. I'm used to like withdrawing away. I'm used to holding my cards real close and playing like a mob boss. I'm not saying shit to nobody. Then it might be best if I practice this idea of being vulnerable and saying, yeah, how you doing? I'm kind of fucked up right now. How you doing? I'm actually doing pretty good right now. I wouldn't tell you, the unhealed version wouldn't tell you whether I was happy, sad, or in between. I was literally system neutral. So it became a practice. So I have to practice it like literally like every day. Like Hajra was saying, like, yo, it's a practice. It's a daily kind of thing. You kind of grind it. So some stuff is actually easy for me to flip the table over on. Like, oh, okay, that's easy now. But some stuff, you know, is like old patterns. I'm like, yeah, bro, you shutting down like you used to. We don't need to do that right now.
GT, did you want to chime in at all?
No, I'm good. I agree with what you're saying, with what everybody's saying, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna set this one out.
All right, so let me let me go ahead and let me take. I'm gonna take the mask off if I have been wearing one. I don't think that I have, but if I have, it's gonna feel like I took it on off. Because I think I'm gonna go back to the question, man. This is just about personal testimonies and what influenced you to take that leap. Me, I have taken that leap, like I've spoken about, on numerous occasions. But for me personally, man, I think that I discovered the other side of that fence accidentally, because like I mentioned before, I didn't go in to sit down and talk to somebody thinking that I needed to. So the intent for me at the time, man, I was looking for an excuse to legally not have to go to work for a little while. And the reason why was because I was dealing with something that was a major life obstacle, and I needed to process thoughts, emotions, life changes, a lot of things that I needed to process. And in my mind, what I felt like was, man, if I just didn't have to go to work for a little while, bro, I could figure this shit on out. And so I had looked into my benefits, and I said, man, if I sit down and talk to somebody and they deem what I got going on, they can put me on a short-term disability leave from my job, and I can still get paid for it. I'll share even more. What I was going through was, at the time, my sister, people that know this, know this about me. My sister had gone on the run en route to becoming the 8th woman ever on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list, the United States FBI. It caused a major earthquake just for my family on the other side of what was going on, behind all of the media shit and her criminal shit. There was a lot of turmoil that it brought up on my family and our lifestyles and routines, and me, the role that I had in my family at that time, man. I had a lot on my shoulders in terms of trying to just keep everything together. And so in my mind, I'm just like, man, for me to deal with all of this, I gotta not be at work for a little while. So when I went and sat down, I didn't sit down with the intent that I needed it. Like, on the other side of the fence, it's so funny when I think about it, because I was literally going in because of all of the mental shit going on. But when I sat down, I was honest. I was very honest with the counselor that I had. I actually accidentally did the proper steps. This was all on accident, Brother Rogers. So don't hold this against me, because it wasn't intentional for me.
Not at all. No.
I accidentally took all of the right steps, but they were accidentally, right? So I ended up going through 2 other professionals before I landed with the therapist that I felt comfortable with, right? Which was this was the right step for people that's listening. You should treat your finding your doctor like anything else that is near and dear to you. You should make sure that you are comfortable sitting down with this person. Okay. I didn't know this at the time. I was taking the right steps, but it was accidentally. It was just the way I fucking felt. I sat down with somebody. I said, man, I can't sit down with this motherfucker and talk to them about nothing after a couple of sessions. And so I then sat down with somebody else, and I said, I don't like this either. And so then at that point, I talked to somebody close to me who then recommended me a therapist that they had used. And it was at this point that this brother had shared with me that they had even ever sat and gone through therapy. It was a shocker for me at the time. It's like, what do you mean you can recommend me to your therapist? Nigga, you got a therapist? Like that was my whole attitude. Like with this conversation, I'm telling him what I'm going through. Man, I can't find somebody that I really want to sit down and talk to. And he said, hey, bro, call my therapist. I said, what the fuck, right? So this is all cultural shock. It's all accidental, but I do know now that I was taking the right steps because of the way that I was feeling in terms of my level of comfort and vulnerability, right? When I did sit down with my close friend's therapist, I was very honest. I told her what my intent was. I told her what I was going through. I said, Doc, ultimately, I don't know how any of this relates to what you do. I just know that I ain't gonna be able to handle all of this shit if I still got to get up and go deal with these crazy ass white folks every day. This is how I'm talking to her, and she's a white old lady. Okay. I was very honest, is my point that I'm making. She sat me down. She said, well, that's kind of not how this works, but let's sit down and have a couple of sessions and we'll just talk. And to me, I felt like I was just talking to her about normal shit. And after, man, I don't know, man, 30 days, because I was going to sessions weekly at this point. So maybe after the first month, it was pretty deep for me, because then I realized we are talking about things that are normal, but they're only normal because my upbringing, my community, my surrounding, some of the things that I've gone through, my people, we've normalized things that should not be considered normal. So I found that other side of the fence on accident with the wrong intent. And like I was talking about earlier, I don't know if this was on camera or off camera, but at the time, man, when I first started sitting down with somebody, I downplayed it because I thought, man, this shit is just, you know what I'm saying? It's just normal shit we talking about, bro. I'm really just trying to get off of work for a little while. And it was really just more of a rude awakening for me. So my personal experience was, I looked at it. It took me, after that first month, I started to take it seriously. It took me a little bit longer than that first month before I started to realize just how fucked up we live as a community. Some of the things that we grow up being surrounded by, some of the ways that we learn to deal with trauma or not learn to deal with trauma. It took me a lot longer than just that first 30 days before I realized that we really do have a lot of things that we've normalized in our community that directly deal with and affect our mental health, our emotional well-being, how we process thoughts and emotions. And it just was a time for me that I realized this on accident, if this makes sense to any of you brothers. So my personal testimony is that, man, right? Like, it wasn't an intentional journey for me to find out what was on the other side of the fence.
Now so your ass wanted to play hooky.
Yeah. But
that was a serious. Your situation was serious.
Stupid serious. Like here's. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Wig, bro. But like, I'm now it's coming back to me, bro, because there was another lady that I worked with at the time, bro. When I first actually took this leave of absence, bro, there was a lady that I was working with, a white lady, and that's neither here nor there, but this was just me finding out things. She was taking the same sort of short-term disability, mental health related leave of absences on the regular. I didn't realize that until I was in my journey, right? Like, it was just this white lady that I worked with on my team, and every once in a while, bro, she just wouldn't be at work for a little while, bro. We ended up crossing paths, bro, in the same facility, bro. Like, and what was going on with her was there was times where she had trouble sleeping. She had insomnia, ultimately, and it was due to just what we thought is normal things. People in our community think this shit is normal, but it's not, bro. Like, it's common. Something being common doesn't mean that it should be normalized, right? But the woman she had trouble sleeping during certain periods of time, and during those periods of time, she wasn't required to go to work, and that blew my mind, because I said, shit, well, I didn't know that's what insomnia meant until I crossed paths with that. Like I'd heard the word, but had never really truly met somebody where it was like they've been diagnosed with this, and these are the causes of such things. And so, you know, again, for me, it was like an awakening, wig, bro. Like, and I met people to where it was just like once I talked about what I was going through and what I had gone through as a child leading up until that moment. Once I sat down and actually shared that some of those details, because I didn't go in there vulnerable, bro. I went in there to talk about what was going on in my here and now. Hey, listen, this is what's going on. Doc, I don't know if you've seen the news. Okay. That's my sister on the news. That's my family that the police is harassing. All of these news stories going on. That's us. Okay. I got this going on. I got these court dates. I got to sit down with these motherfuckers. Because of my family and our background, we've had to relocate my grandmother, and we've had to do this, and we've got streets, and some of us have to carry straps now. I'm talking about all of this shit as if it's just normal shit that ultimately leads me to a point that, hey, man, if I could just get off work for a little while, I can handle this shit. I walked in there feeling like all of this shit. And so as I'm sitting down talking about my here and now, well, now there's questions. Wait a minute. Back up. Y'all had to do what? What's going on? Talk to me about this. Talk to me about your family situation. Talk to me about your, like, there's certain, the uncovering, bro, came for me. I say it accidentally, bro, but it was just my journey. Like I said, bro, like it's hard for me to give up the point that I made earlier, bro, when we was talking earlier before the break. It's hard for me to say that to look at an adult and say I can give up on them or look at it as more of or less of a challenge with the youth versus the older folks, bro, is because I was well into my adulthood before I discovered that side of the fence, bro. And the minute that I realized what was happening, I did start coming back around to my folks, people that was close to me, bro. I did start sitting around like, hey, nah, look, on the real, you should probably go sit down and talk to somebody, cuz like this shit is not normal that we go, we grow up thinking that the shit is normal, and we still do that, I think, as a community, bro. I think as a community, there's still a lot of things, a lot of ways in our community, which is why that statistic that we brought up earlier is still rings so true, right? That you know, the likelihood of us going to sit down and talk to somebody. I think that the biggest point is, bro, is that I was on that other side of that fence, bro, and that's the point that I'm making, bro. And I know I've been long-winded, but Wig, I was on that other side of the fence and didn't realize what therapy, what the mental health, the notion of the mental health aspect to our lives. I didn't even realize what it was and what it meant until I actually was going through it. And I was going in there with different intent from the jump.
Yeah, I thought I hear you on that one, Holly, because I thought I was lost cause. Like when I actually sat down and realized like how much, like I was like, oh, I don't think this is gonna work for me. I don't think I'm ever gonna be okay. And then over time, I started getting better. I started getting a little bit better every single time I went. Not only every single time I went, but every time I was vulnerable. Every time I was like, hey, yo, I'm actually kind of struggling today. And folks is like, oh, where? You need something? I'm like, actually, a hug would be helpful. And sometimes it was, like, I mean, because I would go through, it really hit me like way later after I'd like processed a heavy dose of my trauma. And then I went to a trauma training, and I'm learning specific trauma techniques to work with folks, and they give categories. They're like, okay, we're going to cover this category today, in this category tomorrow, in this category on Wednesday, and in a couple months we're going to cover this one. And I'm like, I be damn, I'm on every fucking one of these.
Yeah. All
this shit is mine too. And I realized I can get help. And and eventually it became like, oh, I eventually will be okay.
What should be normalized. The help is what should be normalized, not the things that
eventually we heal became like, I think I will. I think I'm going to be okay. Like, and I think sometimes we are only okay as we allow ourselves deeply to be supported, man. Like we're not meant to hold this stuff solo. And I think that's the myth of manhood that often happens. Like, bro, I'm a man, I hold it by myself. No, brother, you hold it with somebody else, bro. Not just your lady, your guys too. Like, being vulnerable and saying like, yeah, I'm kind of fucked up today. Like I think we need to be a bit more soft in that arena and say like, even the stuff that we think is normal in our hood, it's like, yo, I got somebody that's wanted by the feds, and hey, yo, I lost my homie to the homicide last week, and I'm kind of fucked up about it. Or hey, I just got shot at. That shit ain't regular either. like
none of that shit is regular, bro.
I gotta carry my pistol because I gotta make sure that the officers ain't on me. Or even just the idea of like, yo, I don't go out to public places. I'm gonna get
I don't go to certain I don't go to certain areas because of this. And if I do go, we gotta be we got a mob like this. Like it's like none of that shit is normal. We think that shit's normal, but it's not. That shit's not normal. It's not safe. It doesn't provide like, you hear the phrases like safe spaces, places where you like those are some of the terminology that we hear, bro. But that's what those things mean. It's like, bro, we truly grew up. I realized, bro, I was in my mid to late 20s before I realized it, bro. But I realized that I had grown up and had never been in a safe space in my life.
I didn't realize how unsafe I was until I was at a training in St. Louis. And one of my dear friends, who's my homie now, like they said, hey, have you ever rolled down a hill and played? I was like, fuck no. I ain't never know shit like that. Like just played like without too much thought to it. Like sometimes I did with my cousins and such when we was playing ball or doing this or doing that. But I'm just gonna have fun today. Nah.
Just the simple things in this world that we live in, bro. It's just like bro, I feel that.
I was 30 at the time, man. 30, where I was like, oh, people play? Oh shit. I play ball, but like,
you know what? I didn't mean to cut you off. But this did just bring me to a different question. I'm looking at these questions, but this is the perfect time to kind of jump in on this, bro. Because we just talking about, bro, like everybody's journey, personal testimonies, personal paths towards mental health if they have sought it, if whatever they believe in, right? That's kind of what we're talking about, bro. And with us, bro, it's evident that it's an epidemic in our community, especially amongst Black men. So I'm just looking at this question, bro, or just kind of this statistic, and let's just get some dialogue around this, bro, before we start to kind of wrap this up. But it says someone who looks like me, according to the latest data from the American Psychological Association, just 4% of psychologists in the country are Black, with 71% of therapists being female. Okay. I think Brother Rogers mentioned this a little earlier, but what type of role does that play, man? Like in terms of our willingness, or what thoughts and comments do we have? There's a question here. Does that make our expectations towards even sitting down and talking to somebody biased, right? Like, are therapists biased in any sort of way? Does any of this, play a role in people's willingness to seek some sort of professional help or even believe in it at all? Let's speak to that.
I think it's necessary, man. I think if you took all the Black male therapists in Kansas City alone, I genuinely believe we could run 5-on-5 and not have nobody asking for next. Like, it's not too many of us, bro. There's not too many male therapists in general. There's even fewer of Black male therapists. And I think we need more of us in there. But at the very least, though, too, I think the idea of having somebody who at least understands the details of your experience, like just the idea of like, oh, yeah, that's regular for you, but it's still impacting your mental health. I think that does help. That does make it hard for folks to say, I want to attend therapy, because like I had that thought process. Like, what is this? What is this white woman gonna tell me about growing up in my neighborhood? What can you tell me? Like I would ask, honestly, bro, I would ask asshole-ish kind of questions. I would say, have you ever like lost somebody to homicide? Do you know what that feels like? Like, if you don't, I don't know if we can vibe. And I stuck in there. And eventually it became like, okay, you don't have to fully understand this to understand that I am like experiencing trauma. So eventually it became this idea of, yeah, do you have to understand my specific trauma to understand me? No. Do you have to understand that this experience I'm having is traumatic? Yes. So I think that like it does help people feel more comfortable and safe knowing that like, yeah, this person does understand. But then again, I've been around folks who are trauma therapists who don't understand that either because they've never grown up in the hood, regardless of their skin. They've never grown up in that environment. So they don't understand like, oh yeah, that's unfortunately normal for folks to say, yeah, gunshots. Yeah, that was a regular experience.
Yeah, so
yeah, go for it.
So not mean to cut you off, Bert, but just for me, you know, it wasn't even that I never even considered a therapist, but man, my mind was so preoccupied with other things and I was going through so much trauma that it never even crossed my mind to even go and seek help. Because, coming up, you raised to just deal with it. You roll with the punches and you keep moving, man. You deal with the good, you take the good with the bad, in other words. So I never even thought about it or considered it however you want to, cut that until, my mom passed away. And then I knew at that particular point that, whether I thought it was a good idea or not, I probably should go sit down and just have a conversation with somebody and just see how it goes. So, sometimes, coming up, man, as a child, as a teenager, young adult, you're pressed with so much that you never even take the time to even say, do I need help? Like, you don't even, like, sometimes, like, my life was moving so fast. I was in the fast lane, and my life was moving so fast that wasn't even, that wasn't even a part of the conversation. You know what I mean? So, that with the combination of everything we've talked about tonight, as far as, shame and pride and lack of, it all combined. It all was the thing for me. So I can imagine how people miss that whole, notion that they may need help or they do need help. It just depends on your life and how you going and what you're going through.
That's true. That's true. If you catching hell back to back, you definitely won't ask some kind of questions. Like I didn't. I didn't seek help to homicide number 4. Like to number 4.
Yeah.
Like so they were happening so quickly that I didn't even consider the idea of going to get help because I was like, well, shoot, I gotta go to a funeral. I gotta get suit, tie, and everything else. And I got a eulogy to deliver. Like so there wasn't a whole lot of time. And like grad school provided me the opportunity. It was like there was reprieve. Like, oh shit, I'm definitely not okay. Like I'm really not okay. My partner is noticing I'm not okay. Like, so I think that like we need connection. We need time. We need time to figure that shit out. And sometimes it's like this individual thing where it is about pride. And sometimes it actually is like, yo, I tell people all the time, life in the hood moves fast as hell. Like it's on steroids itself. It moves hella fast. So you don't often get an opportunity to even ask those kind of questions. Am I okay? Shit, I'm just recovering from the fight I had yesterday. Am I okay? Yeah. Well, I'm running from somebody today. I don't have time to check in. Like, oh, how am I sleeping, bro? I'm doing just to go to sleep, and then I'm getting back up. Like, it's not the same.
Right, like you're stuck in survivor mode. Like you're just trying to survive on a day to day, let alone trying to figure out if you're all right or not. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's exactly what trauma is at its core. Our brain is stuck.
That's what it is.
Our brain is stuck in survival mode. And I think that that's a difference. That's why we often grow up thinking that therapy is for white folks, because white folks sometimes have the time to sit down and ask themselves, am I okay? when we don't even get the opportunity to ask ourselves that question, which is why, like, I ask people, even my posts on social media, in between all the jokey jokes about basketball and everything else, I'm like, yo, y'all good? Are y'all good?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not.
We shifting the culture, I think, man. I am very proud of the way that things are shifting in our community, bro, in terms of our awareness, bro, and our encouragement with each other, man. But I kind of fall right into the category, bro, now that I'm on the other side of that fence. I found this side by accident. I'm gonna live and die by that's my story. I'm sticking to it, bro. This was by accident for me. But you know, when I did sit down with somebody, it was an older white woman who I did feel comfortable. This was actually the first time, which is amazing when I think about it. But this was the first time that I had ever even been candid or opened up, like taking my mask off around somebody white. Like, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. There's a certain way that you act. You know how to act. Like you got some goddamn home training around them white folks, bro. And so I had been around white folks my entire time going off to college. You know, I went to college in Warrensburg, Missouri. Had dealt with you know, racism and discrimination. I had been around white people, bro, but I had never been candid around somebody white until I sat down with my therapist. But she made me feel comfortable enough to do so at that time. And the point that I'm making is because I found it by accident, and now that I know what I know now that I didn't know then, there are a certain lines of questioning and certain expectations that you should look for in who you do sit down and become comfortable with. And the point that I'm ultimately wanting to talk about, bro, is the fact that like that woman was my therapist for over 10 years. Okay. And I haven't been 100% welcome to the notion of me sitting down and opening up to somebody else after that relationship. You know, that relationship with her really mostly ended because of her age, you know, and her moving on to a different phase in life, right? And for me, bro, because of the way that I came into the whole notion and the field, the whole journey, it was extremely hard for me to open up to that level of vulnerability that I did, albeit with who I did it with. And so now, and this was actually towards the end of season 1. It's taken me a long time to actually become comfortable with sitting down with another therapist since my former therapist relationship has ended. And I don't know if I should be concerned about that, even though I know I'm kind of taking the right steps, man. But like one of the things, that's why I said this, I fall right into this, man, is like the whole concept that only 4% of mental health professionals are Black in this country. In my mind, I feel like if I do sit back down with somebody to become that level of vulnerability on a regular basis, they got to be Black. That's the way that I feel. And I'm pretty sure it got to be some other men out there that either have had therapy or never have gone to therapy before. They can't even entertain the notion of sitting down with somebody white. Me personally, if I can't have my original doctor, I don't think I could sit down with somebody that wasn't Black. And I don't even necessarily know if they got to be a Black male. Like
listen. Hey, I will have to be in agreement with you. Because my only the 2 times that I did, you know, go, and the one that I call on now if I need to is Black, you know, female as well. And I don't think it's really too easy to even find a male. Not easy that you can really, you know what I mean? Because the thing is there's an intuition. Yeah, I mean, this goes back to, you know, the garden where, you know, she 8 to become to be as one to become wise. So it's like they do have an intuition. They do. The thing about it is that's where the bias come in. I think there is a little bit of bias when it comes to that. Especially when it's like probably when it's, and I can't really say that that's possible that it's like that because it didn't happen with me and my wife in our therapy when we did our sessions. But
well, I mean, like
as
the point
far
I'm
as
saying is like
it's
even if
like
it is your preference, bro, like
yeah,
it's slim pickings. It's slim pickings. That's just the
very
reality. Like
very much
it's
so.
slim pickings. So like I think the point that we want to leave everybody with, bro, is like these are realistic things that are happening, bro. Like just in the world of mental health, bro. And you might not be able to be as selective. This is something that I gotta learn too. I'm talking to myself when I say this. You can't be as selective as you might want to be until maybe we get deeper off into this exploration of mental health in our community. There is a shortage of Black male therapists for sure, and it's only 4% Black, period. So for me, and actually I don't have a problem sitting down. Me personally, I just share that with y'all, bro. If it's a woman, I don't have no problem with that. Like I don't need it to be a Black man, but at least I think if I do sit down and develop that deep level or relationship again, bro, like that's kind of been my hump, just to share that with y'all, bro. As I'm looking for a Black female therapist.
I do want to throw this out there because I want to say Brittany and Meg, both of them, they put together the Color Collective of KC. That's my reason. They have a listing for all, like every person of color therapist that's in the KC area as a whole is listed on here. Some of us are Black males and everybody else is pretty much a woman of color in some way, shape, or form. So if you're looking for that particular resource, because I know scrolling through Psychology Today and those kind of places, why they got good folks on there. These folks are highly qualified, but if you feel more comfortable for your mental health, kccolorcollective.org, man. Please go there.
Yeah, right on.
They are listed. Folks are listed, and there's also just launched the KC Black Mental Health Initiative by Cecil Watry. Has a thing out there too. Same idea, man. Like it's because I think ad hoc is still functioning. I'm still part of their contracting folks. It's like 4 or 5 of us there now at this point, all Black therapists and everything else. I just think it's necessary, man. Like it just to. If you feel like that's a significant barrier, because I'm with you, Holly. My therapist is also white, and I thought the same shit.
Yeah.
I can't make it happen. And I told her, I say it joking but very serious. She's gonna have to deal with me for a very, very long time. Like,
man, bro, because that's like you ain't like that ain't no like, and I don't want to joke about this or downplay it in any manner, bro. But we all went through this. Like it as just young adults, bro. We jumped in different relationships with young ladies, bro. Like and the relationship with a mental health therapy is not something that I want to have a dozen of.
No,
okay, like I needed like you understand what I mean? Like that's why it's taking me so long to transition, bro, because of how long my relationship lasted with my mental health therapist, bro. Like you don't want to have 30 of them when it's all said and done.
If my therapist retires, we're gonna have a whole discussion about like, okay, you better have some damn good referrals along the way.
Hey, but this can I put this on record?
Yo, I ain't repeat this shit nowhere else, bro.
Yeah,
I will put this on record, man. And
go ahead, Wig, and we gotta wrap up after that, man. Because I'm looking at the time.
I want to put this on record, man. Like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Y'all gonna hear me throughout all the seasons and all the episodes that I'm gonna tie in what's going on and what's going on in our mental health and everything with the scriptures, because
we ain't got no problem with that.
A lot of times,
especially you know what, man, like and I ain't want to cut you out, but I am looking at the time, but like because we doing unpacking, bro. We're gonna do an unpacking on this episode, bro, and I welcome and encourage all of those different points of views and different references, man, and different parallels that we can make, bro, because all of these conversations are important, bro. I think tonight's conversation was amazing, bro. It was an amazing kickoff to this second season, bro. And Wig, man, you always got your shine on last season in them unpacking sessions, bro. And I only cut you off because it sounded like you was about to prepare us for what you gonna do on unpacking when we do unpacking on this episode. You muted, Wig. You muted.
Oh no. Yeah. I'm in the comments. Hey, man, you hear me?
Yeah, for sure. Right on. Hey, man, but look, man. Listen, bro. We definitely again, like we always do, man. We're gonna do the unpacking for this episode, the week after this airs. So, man, I appreciate everybody, man, for chiming in, man. Did anybody want to drop any last thoughts before we go ahead and wrap it up, man, and get ready to tackle the next day's worth of healing?
We in there like swimwear.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm definitely looking forward to the unpacking, man, and you know what I'm saying, I just again, man, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the producer in the background for sitting in with us, man, and making sure all of this runs smoothly. Hopefully, man, we have a really good season, man, of in-depth interaction and engagement, man. You know, shout out to the sisters, man. I'm anxious to see some of the dialogue and conversations that they do this season as well, man. But man, listen, man, if y'all ain't got nothing else, man, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. And I appreciate, man, y'all for tuning in, the people that are tuning in. And I appreciate y'all, man, for sitting on the couch with me again tonight for this season 2 premiere. To all of the brothers that's here with me tonight, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
We appreciate y'all, man. For sure.
Already,
man. My brothers. Yes, sir.
Next week, man.
Yes, sir, man. Next week, man. We see y'all then, man. Y'all enjoy y'all night, man. And as always, man, peace, love, and blessings. And I hope we heal.
We heal.